In this video, I want to show you how to redirect the default WordPress dashboard to a custom URL for administrators. Now, if you prefer to read content, I also have a supporting blog post that I'm going to leave a link to in the description below that just goes through everything that we're going to cover in this video, but it might actually cover some additional stuff because I have more time to think when I write. So, what are we aiming to achieve? So, here inside WordPress, we're going to move to a staging website, and by default, I'm here and I'm building my website. And when you're going and editing your website, adding content, you're constantly moving between your front end of your website and your admin area, your back end. And so the way that I do that is by clicking up here. So when I click on this, it takes me by default to this page here. And this is where you can go and add your widgets. And you can go up here to screen options. You might have at a glance, which, just all of these things I've never found very useful. And so I also like to not clutter my interfaces. And, by doing that, I basically get rid of all of these. And I sometimes work with the object cache, but basically, I've been using this for a while now, and I never find it useful. So over time, I've come to always redirect this URL to a custom one for me, the administrator. So the ones that I like to redirect to, it can be because I'm writing blog posts. I like to track how many words I'm writing for the month. So if we go to plugins and then installed plugins, there's this plugin here called Just Writing Statistics, and it shows here in the admin. So if I go here and I go to statistics, and then I go to monthly, I can see for the current month and over time how many words I've wrote. And it's a bit of a motivator. So if my main core focus for my business is to write more content for this month, I like to have statistics front and center because what isn't measured can't be improved, and it keeps me accountable. So if I'm not using this URL, again, if we go back to dashboard and home, if I find that this here isn't giving me any value and I'm constantly reaching it by going to the front end of my website, doing things, clicking to go back and landing there, I may as well redirect it to a page that I get more use out of. So the way that we go ahead and do that is by adding a bit of code here. So I'm going to uncomment it here, and we're going to rewrite this in today's video, but I'll go ahead and save that. And then if I go back and reload this, you can see now it takes me to the report. So if I go to the front end of my website, I'm doing some stuff, and then I go to the back end, I click up here. Now it redirects me to my statistics. So that's what we're going to set up in today's video. But you could redirect to any page for any plugin that you have inside of your website. Now, this is what we're going to go ahead and set up today, but as we go through and write this code from scratch and we build it up over time, I'll show you how you would go and adapt this for a specific plugin and a page for that plugin that better meets your business. So let's jump in and start doing this. Now coming back here, let's go ahead and comment that out and we'll start it from scratch. And again, if you want to follow along, just go to the blog post linked in the description under today's video, and you can get the code from here. And the way that we're going to structure today's video is the exact same format of this blog post, so we can sort of see what we're going to cover. We're going to go through why I use this hook here, or this action hook versus the login redirect hook, so we'll cover that. Then we'll go through and how to check the current plugin is installed. So if we have a look here, we definitely want to make sure that if we're about to redirect to a page of a plugin, we first want to make sure that plugin's activated. So that's what we're going to do first. And then we're going to go through how to set up the redirect and so on. So let's go in. Let's start writing our code. So the first thing is we need to do add action, and we're going to do admin underscore init. And then here you just got to name the function. So I'll just call this wage pirate admin redirect, redirects like that. And then we need to go and write the function. So here I'll do function and then the name of the function. And then we start writing our code inside here. Now, the first thing that I want to cover is this hook that we're using here, admin init. So if I copy that, if we go over to the WordPress website, a bookmark that you want to make is this URL here, because it gives you the different actions that WordPress uses when it's going through and doing its thing, initializing and making your website run the way that WordPress does. And the order that hooks fire on is important. So you want to bookmark this and start getting an idea of the order that these actions fire in. And the one that we're going to use is admin admin init there. So we can open that up and it looks like it's moved to here and it tells us what this does. So it fires as an admin screen is being initialized. And it says here it's triggered before any other hook when a user accesses an admin area. So it's the earliest hook that I know of, at least from reading the docs, that we have available to us to trigger a redirect. So that's why I'm using the admin init hook there. And if we go back to the blog post, I did want to point out why I'm not doing a login redirect. And the main reason is that when I'm, in here every day writing my blog post, I'm not really logging in all that often. I'm already logged in. My session's already there. So if I was only firing my code on the login redirect hook, it would trigger very infrequently. I really want this to work every time I try and access the admin page, not just when I log in. So that's why I've opted to do that. And as I said, it's the earliest hook that I think that we have available to us when we're accessing an admin page. Now, the first thing that we want to add into our function is to only redirect if the plugin that we're redirecting to is active. So let's go ahead and do that. So check plugin is active. And the way that we do that is this here. So we can do if, and we'll open up an if statement, and we'll just get that from down there. And I'll run you through what this is doing. So is plugin active? And then we just pass in, we need to get the path of the plugin's PHP file. In this exact example, the plugin folder is called just writing statistics, and then inside that plugins folder is a PHP file called just writing statistics.php. So it's not always the case that it's the same. Sometimes they can be different. So let's go into our plugins folder. So I'll go to, or actually we can just go here. So if I go advanced custom fields, you can see inside this plugin here, advanced custom fields pro, that's the name of the plugin is advanced custom fields, which I'm sure you know. The plugins folder's name is this, but inside there, the PHP file that we would use is actually acf.php. And the reason that I know that this is the one that we want to use is that we're trying to find the PHP file in the plugin that registers this comment here that WordPress uses to register the plugin. Because WordPress is expecting, and this is required, whenever you're trying to register a plugin for WordPress, it needs inside your plugin to find this. And whichever PHP file contains this comment that WordPress uses for its plugin info, this is the one that you want to add to the code. So if we were trying to redirect to our advanced custom fields plugin, which I'm not sure why you would, but just to go with this, we would get this here. So I might just get the text there. So I'm just going to get that. Then let's go back to our function, which is here. And then we would go if the plugin is active, and then it would be inside our plugins folder, advanced custom fields pro, and then the name of that file with all that information about the plugin was acf.php. And that's how we would check the plugin is active. And what we could do, if I just copy that for now and put that there and then uncomment that. So we could say, if the advanced custom fields plugin is active, then we're going to redirect. And if I go back here and just go to custom fields, maybe the add new custom field URL, I could just get that from there, go back here and then paste that in there and just clean that up. And then I could save that. And now if we go back here and try and access our dashboard, it redirects us to this page here. So that's how you go and find what to put here for that is plugin active. So I'm just going to revert it back because that's the point where we're up to. So now that you know how to go and find what to put in here for your plugin, the next thing that we need to do is this here, global paged now. And let's go ahead and see what this is. So let's go var dump, which is just a PHP function to output the values for a variable, and we'll put that in there. And then let's save that. And we actually need to update that to our writing statistics because we're trying to do that for that there. So I'll put that up there. So let's go ahead and just leave that for now, and let's save that. And let's go back here and go to our dashboard. And you see nothing's really happened here, but if we view the source code, we can see here's that var dump there. And I might zoom in a little bit here. So it's a string, and the global page now variable, its value is index.php. which if we come back here under dashboard and home, index.php is this. So if we go to another page, let's see how that changes. Let's go to bricks and then templates, and then let's view source. We can see that the global page now variable, its value is edit.php. So if we come back and have a look here, wp-admin/edit.php. So by doing that, we can assume that this global page now variable, its value is always whatever is after the /wp-admin, then hyphen, it's whatever this is here, the PHP file. So on this page, it's edit.php, and then back on the dashboard, it's index.php. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment that out. So now that we know that this is whatever is after /wp-admin in URL, the PHP file, e.g. index.php, etc. What we can do now is go if, like this, and then we could say if page now equals index.php, which we know is the dashboard home. So that is dashboard home. Then we'll do the redirect. So we just do wp_redirect like that. And now we just need to go and set the URL that we want to redirect to. Now you can see down here, I'm using a function admin URL. So if we go ahead and do that as well, so admin_URL like that, you can see inside here that function has two different arguments. So the first one is the URL that we want to redirect to, and the second argument is the HTTPS, or I guess HTTP. If we actually go and look at this function here again, because we're trying to practice our PHP on this channel as much as possible, if we look at this function and go to WordPress and search for this, so there it is there, we can see that this function has two parameters. So the first one is a string, so the path that we want to go to, and it says relative to the admin URL. So if we have a look here at the code, I've done admin.php. So it says relative to the admin URL there. So the admin URL, if we go back to our website, is everything here. So our domain name /wp-admin, this is the admin URL. So anything that we add for the path here being relative to the admin URL, it's whatever's after the /wp-admin. So that's why down here I've done admin.php. That's where I started that string. And if I go back to writing statistics, and then the monthly tab, which is where we're going to redirect to, you can see this would be the admin URL, and relative to the admin URL is this admin.php ? So that's what I've done there. I just got everything after there and copied that and then put it in as that first argument. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So I'm going to do that there. So put that in there and then comma. And now we can put the second argument. So coming back and looking at this function, it says the second one is a string, scheme equals admin. The scheme to use default is admin, which obeys force SSL is admin and is SSL. HTTP or HTTPS can be passed to force those schemes. So I know on my website, everything's HTTPS. And so coming back, I did set HTTPS there. But if we have a look, the default is to admin, which obeys these. So if we click into whatever these are, determines whether to force SSL. And down here, when I was looking at this code, when I first wrote it, it says this here is determined by whether or not inside your WP config file, you've set the force SSL admin constant. And I looked in my WP config file and I can see that force SSL admin is set to true. So knowing that, I actually didn't need to go and set this second one because it's optional. So I could just go ahead and do that and it would just work. But I've added that in there for this code today. It depends on how you have WordPress set up for yourself, whether or not you go and do that. For this, I'm actually just going to omit it while we rewrite this new one because I've explained here today why I'm not adding it. So the next thing that we need to do is for the WP_redirect function, we get the URL, which is that bit there. But then the second argument is going to be what type of redirect. So let's have a look at this redirect function. So let's go back here and search for that. And there it is there. So it redirects to another page. So the first argument that we pass is the location, and it's a string, so we've already worked out how to do that. And the second argument that we pass is going to be an integer, which is status equals 302. So by default, it is set to a 302. Now, of course, this is an admin page and only we see this. This doesn't really matter. It's not like it's being indexed by Google and we're trying to let Google know if it's a permanent redirect or a temporary redirect. This is literally just for us, so it doesn't really matter. But I just got in the habit of doing a 301 redirect, so I've just added that there. So this here, that's going out and adding the location, and the second one is the status. We don't really need to add a status again because it's just for us, so we could just leave that like that and it's going to work. So now that I've explained what this is, I'm actually not going to add it because again, it's just for us being admins. So coming back to the docs, you can see that after every single redirect, it does an exit. I can't remember what these are called, but this is a PHP, whatever it's called. If we go to the PHP docs, so php.net, and we search for exit, there it is there. It is a, do they even have a name? What these like random things are? It's not a function. So I was just editing this video now and I can see when I was editing it, it says it right here. Exit is a language construct and it can be called without parentheses, and no status is passed. But basically it terminates a script. So it just stops everything from happening. So if we go and have a look at a redirect, if we're trying to, when something's trying to load, we're trying to redirect away from it. As soon as we do the redirect, we just want to exit. We want to terminate everything that's happening on the server and go to that new page. That's why after a WP redirect function, it just always has exit. And we can just see that from the docs. So we will add that after our redirect there. Because again, we don't want anything to happen after we redirect. So now that we've wrote that code, I haven't gone ahead and saved it yet. So let's go to our website and let's go to the front end. And then let's click to go back to our dashboard homepage. So dashboard home, and it's loaded. Now let's go back and let's save this. So now we've added our code, and then let's go back and let's try and reload this page and try and access it. And you can see it redirects where we want it to go. So this is all working. Now, this was all working, and this is where I'd left my code for a little bit until I installed a plugin recently called Plausible Analytics. So here in plugins, I'm going to go down and just activate the Plausible Analytics plugin. And if I go to dashboard, you'll see that it's added a new option here under analytics. Now, if we go back and just deactivate our redirect from happening, so I just comment it out so nothing happens. And then I go back here and I try and access this. So I'll click on analytics. You'll see that I can access this page. Now, of course, I'm working on a temporary staging website. It's not actually pulling in my analytics properly. There's an error here, not to go into it too much, but the main thing that I want to point out at this stage is that I can access the analytics here. Now, if we go up and have a look at the URL, this is the admin URL, and then relative to that, after that is index.php. So the two things to note here is that it's index.php, and there's a variable page, and its value is plausible analytics statistics. If we go to home, we can see that we have the same thing, index.php, but there's no page variable that has a value. Now, if we go back to the analytics, and I can access that, and then we come back here, and then uncomment this, and then save this, so now our redirect's taking effect again. Remember, this is going to trigger when page now equals index.php. And the analytics has index.php here. So with that, we actually know that page now for this equals index.php. So our redirect should happen here. So if I try and re-access this and reload the page, now I'm redirected away from my analytics to the writing statistics. And if I try and access my analytics, because page now is index.php, it just redirects me back here because everything under dashboard is index.php. So this is why I went and added the next bit of code, which is this here. So up here, we're going to say if page now equals index.php and then we'll do this underscore get, and then here page. And to make things a bit clearer, we could say if it's not, which is what the exclamation mark means, is set, like that. And we do that. So by doing that, what we're doing is if page now equals index.php and get page, this is just a PHP, I can't remember what they're called, but this allows you to get the variable from the URL. So remember our URL had page equals before, page equals plausible analytics. It gets the page variable from the URL, which is what that's doing there, and it's checking if it's set, and then the exclamation says if it's not set. So if page now equals index.php and we don't have the page variable in the URL, then we'll do the redirect. So if I save that and go back and I go to my analytics now, you can see now this page loads again, because even though page now equals index.php, the page variable does exist in the URL, so it is set, and we're trying to only do the redirect if it's not set. So because it's set, it never gets to the redirect. And so that's why I've added that there. And that should be everything that you need to know and do that function. And again, if you want to work at your own pace or you prefer to read and you want to copy the code that we went through in today's video, there's going to be a link in the description below that links you to this blog post here, which has all the information that we covered in today's video. Now, I actually sent an email to my mailing list last week that went through everything that we covered in today's video. And if you want to get access to my content before everyone else, definitely jump onto my newsletter. This is the email that I sent to my mailing list. And if we go down, it was my recent blog post, and I haven't even put videos for these out on my YouTube channel yet. And then down here, the one that we did today, redirect WordPress to an admin dashboard, I emailed my list here. And that was, I think, 3 or 4 days ago. So if you want to get access to this information before I have time to make a YouTube video, the best place is going to be to sign up to my newsletter, because I do let people know on the newsletter when I publish a new blog post. And after I do the blog post, I do the video. And with that said, there's 2 videos on your screen right now that YouTube thinks you're going to get value out of. This one here is the one that it thinks you're going to like the most, so I'd probably start with that one.